guys, the Comics Kid 2099 here to talk to you about the New Mutants movie. I watched it and I liked it. I don't understand all the hate that this movie is getting. It has been trounced in the reviews and I don't really understand it. I have a few theories, but I don't understand how hated this movie is right now. I think part of it is that everyone was aware that this movie's release date was changed like 5 times, and so people went into this movie expecting it to be awful. When you hear that a movie has changed release dates so many times, you're thinking, okay, something is going on behind the scenes. There's something wrong with that movie. And I feel like a lot of people went into this movie expecting the movie to be bad, and then they didn't judge the movie on its own merits. I think that some people probably did that. Also, we live in a post-Avengers Endgame world. Avengers Endgame had a budget of $1 zillion, and it had 255 characters in it, and a lot of people loved that movie. And if you go from that movie to this movie, it's an entirely different ballgame altogether. The New Mutants movie had, by my count, 8 named characters in it, and 2 of those named characters really only have cameos. So you've pretty much got 6 named characters in this movie. This is a smaller scale, kind of reined-in kind of movie, and I like that. You have people who complain that all of these superhero movies are all the same. There's always a beam in the sky, and the world is going to be destroyed, and then there's all this spectacle, and people complain about that sometimes. Not everyone complains about that, but I have seen that complaint before, and then this movie doesn't do any of that, and people are complaining about this movie. I like that this is a smaller, toned-down movie. I don't have to have end-of-the-world stakes in every superhero movie. I think if you can genuinely focus on the characters and what they're going through, I'm going to be engaged, and this movie does that. I like that this movie was able to take the characters from the comics and pretty much bring them to the screen. They do make a few changes here and there, and for the most part, I'm okay with those changes. I know people who don't read New Mutants comics are not going to care that this movie brought them to the screen, but I have heard people complain that the X-Men movies, for example, they don't treat Cyclops right, or they don't treat Storm right. This movie pretty much gets most of the characters right. There's one character in particular I'm thinking of who isn't really anything like their counterpart in the comics, but overall, I was really pleased with how each of the characters here were represented. Also, this movie does a really good job of balancing all of these characters. Once again, going to the X-Men movies, those are all pretty much Wolverine movies that the X-Men guest star in. This does a really good job of giving Illyana screen time, giving Roberto screen time. The only one that I think gets the shaft is Cannonball, and he's a personal favorite of mine, but that's okay. I thought that the actor, it's the guy from Stranger Things, I can't remember his name, I thought he did pretty good. His southern accent is a little goofy, but overall I thought he did good. I thought all of the actors did good here. I don't think there is a bad performance in this movie. So I really like that this is an ensemble movie. We haven't really gotten that in an X-Men movie before. Even First Class, which was much more of an ensemble piece than any of the X-Men movies that came before, even it is pretty much just Magneto and Professor X hanging out, and then there's a whole bunch of other people in the background. This really doesn't feel like the Illyana movie or the Danny Moonstar movie. Yes, Danny Moonstar is the closest thing this movie has to a protagonist, but she does not steal the show from Wolfsbane or Sunspot or Magic. I really think that this movie does a good job juggling all of these characters. So yeah, I did not hate this movie. There are some things about it that I thought didn't quite work, but overall, I'm really confused why everyone is hating on this movie. I think it's kind of hypocritical for everyone in the world to constantly be hating on superhero movies, how they're all the same, and then a superhero movie comes out that does something different, and people are bagging on this movie too. You don't go into The Breakfast Club expecting end-of-the-world stakes. You go into that movie expecting all of these characters to interact with each other and have good moments with each other, and that's what this movie does. I've seen people say this is basically like The Breakfast Club in a haunted house, and that's a pretty good analogy. I don't have to have the New Mutants going and saving representing all of New York. I like their interactions with each other. I like the limited use of their powers here because, as I understand it, the budget wasn't just super high with this movie, so they weren't going to be able to just do a whole lot of using their powers, but when they do, it looks really good. So overall, I was very pleased with this movie. Now, it is possible that my expectations were absolutely non-existent, and so I allowed this movie to kind of sweep me up off my feet, but I think I would rather have that happen than my expectations color my enjoyment of the movie so that I think that it's a bad movie because I expected it to be bad. Yeah, I like this movie. If you have the opportunity to watch it, it is now available digitally and physically. I saw a copy at Walmart the other day. If you are interested in watching this movie, go in, try to have an open mind, because I think this movie is really good. Those are my thoughts, my non-spoiler thoughts. I hope you guys liked this video, and if you did, be sure to check out everything else that I do around here. In the meantime, I'll see you guys in the future. Have a good one.